Let's take a quick break, and I'll be having a conversation with, of course, our friend. We haven't heard him for a while, but he's been investigating, if you will, and he will bring us up to date as it relates to some of the irregularities re CBI. My friend Kenneth Rejock from Florida. He's on the telephone at this time. All right, let's just go straight to it. As we said, the government of Dominica, the United Workers' Party has engaged a senior counsel out of Trinidad and Tobago as we speak. And we had a report from St. Lucia this morning. Day two will be engaging in some legal action to bring home millions of dollars to the state. They allege have been used illegally by some persons on the outside. CBI in total controversy. St. Kitts has launched another investigation. And again, let's just talk to Mr. Kenneth Rejock, who's been following the issues of CBI all across the Caribbean. Kenneth, good afternoon to you. Are you very surprised that we've seen all the investigations beginning here across the Caribbean?
Well, Matt, it's probably time for reform. For many years, there have been evidence of misconduct in CBI in all 5 of the East Caribbean states, and nobody has really done anything about it. And then what happened here is that, an American film producer who was making movies down in St. Kitts and was actually a stakeholder in one of their CBI projects, discovered that there was so much fraud, corruption, and money laundering going on that he filed a $150 million lawsuit naming people in and out of government in both St. Kitts and in St. Lucia. And that has started to basically, reap the whirlwind, because it's been discovered that in 4 of the 5 East Caribbean states, including Dominica, that there has been a widespread and a massive sale of CBI passports and citizenships for reduced prices underneath the legal minimum. So what's going on is that there's this major litigation accusing a number of people of being bad actors, and it has rippled throughout the East Caribbean. Now, in Dominica, of course, that the Prime Minister has advised that he's going to cancel any passports which were purchased at an illegal discount, and he's gone ahead and done that on some of them. There is a feeling around the Caribbean that if they don't take care of the passport situation, that they will lose all the benefits of the programs. Remember that in the UK, because of all these problems, that the visa-free entry for Dominica CBI passports has been canceled. There is talk in the European Union of doing the same thing. Remember that most of the people that buy these passports are from high-risk countries, that they don't want to go through the problems and the time and trouble of getting a visa just to go on a vacation or for a business trip. So if the benefits of the CBI passports are taken away, then who will want to buy them? So that is our problem, and that is that reform is finally coming home, and it's causing an awful lot of stress because people are being identified and named as being bad actors. And whether it's people in the CBI offices themselves, whether it's the salespeople abroad, whether it's the vendors or the sub-agents, everybody is pointing fingers who's involved in criminal activity. Up in St. Kitts, they have now criminalized the illegal sale for a discount of a CBI citizenship. So you can see that the industry is changing. It's being pushed into reform, kicking and screaming, and there will be consequences.
But would you say, Kenneth, that a lot of people say, quote unquote, that this whole process, the whole CBI, is a corrupt, is full of corruption? Would you agree with that?
Well, unfortunately, when you have something that is so lucrative and which has so much money involved, that the temptation for corruption is unfortunately extremely strong. And when you have people who are unsuitable to get a Dominica passport, but get one nevertheless, it raises the presumption that the due diligence on their background was not done, that perhaps some bribes and kickbacks were paid, and that they got the passport only to engage in criminal activity subsequent to its receipt. So yes, the programs in the 5 East Sea states have all been fraught with one or another level of corruption, and it's got to be cleaned up.
But tell me, Kenneth, because I know you know a lot about the correspondent banks. What is the information you have on the correspondent banks? Maybe not only in Dominica, but other across the Caribbean. Are they very concerned about the monies coming into these countries?
Well, that is the most serious aspect of the problem. As you know, the Bank of America has blocked all CBI payments through Dominica because obviously they were unhappy with the level of due diligence done on the individuals getting Dominica passports.
But I heard the Prime Minister saying there's no problem with the correspondent banks. Can you confirm or deny what has been said about the correspondent banks?
People just are trying to put their heads in the sand like the proverbial ostriches. There is a major problem in all 5 countries with the existence and the life of these correspondent relationships. And remember, in some countries, the major banks may only have one correspondent relationship. What if they were to lose that? What if it disappeared, meaning that remember, in the East Caribbean, 90% of finished goods are imported from abroad. Now, what would happen if nobody could import goods from the United States? That would be a nightmare. If you had no access to the dollar market, how would people remit money to their relatives? It could be a huge economic catastrophe if it happens. And basically, government officials in the East Caribbean are trying to downplay the seriousness, but they don't understand that sooner or later, American correspondent banks are under such pressure from their regulators that they'll say, it's just not worth the trouble. I'm cutting you off, and therefore you are not going to be allowed to trade in the United States. Imagine what that would do. That would mean that a bank in Dominica would have to work out some deal with a bank in Europe, and to work through them as a third party, the costs and the delays would be extensive, and it might drive the country into insolvency.
So you're saying if that happens, we would have a lot of repercussions there.
It would sink the economies of every country that would lose its relationships. It would be an economic catastrophe. There would be an instant depression. There would be an inability for people to buy certain goods at a price that they could afford. It would cause instant inflation. Some goods would not be available at all. How are people going to travel to the United States to visit friends and family or for business if there's no access to the U.S. dollar?
I
It's a
know.
nightmare.
I know it would be a nightmare. I know you'll be speaking and you have sources there throughout the Caribbean as it relates to the banks there. But the leaders, including my own leader, Mr. Scary, has been saying we have no problems with this correspondent bank. So I find it interesting that you might be saying something differently there.
Well, because unfortunately, for political reasons, should correspondent banking start to disappear, uh, it would be the end of most of these politicians' reign, because the people could not support any government that would be so negligent as to cause the economy to go into the toilet. So I strongly disagree. Your prime minister may be trying to make people feel good about it. However, look what's happening right now in Dominica. If you can't use the correspondent banks to move U.S. dollars, that means how can people who are engaged in the construction of any of the programs in Dominica, how can they pay for their materials and how can they pay for their labor? That's the end of CBI as it exists.
So you really see it the possibility that if this continues, that would be the end of the CBI, Mr. Kenneth Rijal.
Well, remember, the CBI is tied to the U.S. dollar. Back in 1984, when St. Kitts started the first CBI program, when it was the late prime foreign minister there, Billy Herbert, he specifically said that he would only accept payment by U.S. dollar, not by pound sterling, not by the EC dollar. He knew that the East Caribbean is inextricably tied to the U.S. economy. Therefore, it has to be the U.S. dollar. And unfortunately, the result is that now we have American banks who have been your correspondents at risk and afraid of U.S. regulators and afraid of being charged with money laundering. Because remember this, the moment somebody pays 40% of the listed legal price for a citizenship, and that money goes into a bank in Dominica and then is forwarded through a bank in New York, that constitutes money laundering. In addition, there is an instance of fraud because what about all those people who are paying the full rate for a CBI passport? And we have corruption because these companies which are involved in the sale have been known to be paying bribes and kickbacks to government officials to approve the use of discounted payments. So it's a horrible end to what should be a program that is there to help people in the East Caribbean raise their standard of living, take care of their infrastructure, create jobs, and move things forward for development purposes. And, remember, a large percentage of that CBI money goes to sustaining the budgets in the East Caribbean. Every one of these countries has got government payrolls, government budgets. They have individuals who are paid full time to be diplomats overseas. All these people, to some degree, rely on the CBI money. And what if it was to dry up? In some of the EC countries, it's a huge percentage of the budget. And if it's gone, what happens?
Very interesting.
Bankruptcy, insolvency, it's serious. So there needs to be reform. There needs to be reform now. And it might end up costing the present government its positions. And there may have to be a change after 20 years.
But let me tell you, Mr. Kenneth Rijok, St. Kitts, and you mentioned it earlier, St. Kitts has just opened an investigation into the citizenship by investment illegal sales scandal. Are you aware of this? That's what's going on there with the investigation into the citizenship by investment.
Yes, yes. And the head of the CBI program resigned under a cloud, Michael Martin. And of course, the latest information is that why did he resign? Well, you know that there is a judicial proceeding pending in St. Kitts against the prime minister to force him to cancel all of the passports that were purchased illegally at a discount. During that proceeding, there have been deposits of evidence into the proceedings docket, which showed close to 200 passports that were all purchased illegally at a 60% discount. So that then caused the prime minister to order the public prosecutor to initiate a criminal investigation. And this will probably happen all over the EC states because you break the law of your own country when you sell passports and process them at an illegal fee.
But this afternoon, Mr. Rijok, of course, we are aware that the main opposition party in Dominica, has hired a senior counsel out of Trinidad to help them fetch some of the money that has been stored overseas by MMCE. So people seem serious about going after the billions of dollars stored in overseas accounts.
And this is happening all over the map in the Caribbean. In St. Kitts and in St. Lucia, there's $2.5 billion missing. Remember, the people in these countries are being cheated out of the full price of the passports because that money belongs to the people of the countries who are selling the passports. It's supposed to go into the national treasury. It's supposed to be used for the common good and the common purpose. And it's ending up in the pockets of individuals who are diverting it. You know, a couple $1 billion has ended up in bank accounts in China. Imagine how you would feel if your country was depending upon this money to raise your standard of living, and all of a sudden you realize that bad actors have transferred the money abroad and it'll never come back.
Definitely, we seem very, very concerned about these. From reports, some $7.5 billion may be on the outside in control of foreign hands. The country is worried, and at this point, as I said, next 15 minutes, senior counsel out of Trinidad and Tobago has been hired by the opposition to try to get some proceeds back into Dominica. A very serious situation there in Dominica as we speak. Kenneth. So again, you're not surprised that this is happening. It's happening in St. Lucia. It's happening in St. Kitts and some other Caribbean countries as well.
Well, it's universal. I mean, down in Grenada, where it turns out that a Chinese company has been selling passports in Dubai and all across the Middle East to Arab purchasers at deep discounts. You know, this infection has gone all around the Caribbean, where people, to become more competitive, broke the law and sold the passports at a mere fraction of what they were supposed to be sold for, which is a violation of the laws of each one of the countries who have such passport programs. So it's going to be time for there to be accountability. Obviously, criminal charges in a lot of places will end up, forcing people to realize how serious the matter is, and hopefully there will actually be reform in the future so the program can operate like it was supposed to.
Just a final question to you, and I saw this on your blog this morning. Will FENCIN and OPAC team up to stop China in the Caribbean and safe correspondent banking in the region in that process. What can you tell us about that?
Well, the story appears to be uh, that American regulators are just sick and tired of watching all of this money laundering go on, and they realize that the vast majority of it is being committed by two Chinese owned and controlled companies who are, of course, part of a plan in which China has, as you know, inserted itself all throughout the region, either by the Belt and Road Initiative or by aid and comfort. And even in Dominica, I don't have to tell you that China has provided assistance, whether was to the paramilitary police, whether it's the construction of a 900-man embassy. Chinese influence is growing by leaps and bounds in the Caribbean. In Antigua, they're actually allowing a Chinese company to build an enclave where these Chinese nationals will be able to live there with their own passports, their own airline, and their own cruise line. And, the day will come, if nobody really shuts down this influence, that you'll be looking out to sea from Roseau and you'll see a Chinese warship steaming by because it's being worked on in Antigua shipyards. So the Chinese influence is out of control, and it needs to be minimized. Remember, we have a doctrine in the Western Hemisphere called the Monroe Doctrine from 1824, and it says that foreign powers have no business in the Western Hemisphere, and they are not allowed to be exerting that influence there. That's been around for 200 years, and it shouldn't change.
Very serious. The very mention that you says that China is basically taking control over a lot of these Caribbean, the small Caribbean countries. I noted that it's happening in Antigua, and it's happening somewhat in Dominica. A lot of people seem worried about that.
Well, remember that these people can also have voting privileges. In places like St. Kitts, where there are more Chinese CBI holders than there are Kittitians, what if they all decided to move there and vote? All of a sudden, you have a little bit of China in the East Caribbean.
Mr. Kenneth Rijok, you've given us a lot to think about this afternoon. There, we'll be talking to you again. It has been a while, but we're very happy we could engage you there on some of the important questions as it relates to the CBI, and now China taking over the Caribbean. Kenneth, thank you very much again. Thank you.
You're welcome, Matt. I'm always happy to help.
Thank you. Bye bye. Sometime this weekend, the Salisbury constituency meeting under the agenda: countering crisis, electoral reform, healthcare, cost of living. Flat Bowie, Saturday, 20th September, 7 p.m. Be there in Salisbury. Very important information coming from Mr. Rijok.
Morning, Matt. I'm having a problem getting on your show, but I want to call to big up Mr. Astafan because he said one of the things that I wanted to say, Matt. I'm listening to all these people on the radio, and some of them call to defend injustice. But Mr. Astafan give it point blank. It is discriminatory to discriminate against the Kalinago people, Matt. Indigenous people have rights, and there's a place on the world stage that they could take the grievances when government try to run a mock of the law around indigenous people. And what's so sad about it, you have people calling and defending these wrongdoers, and it's been going on. But I noticed one thing. With the African on the island, they will run and talk and make a bunch of noise and talk. But Miss Sanford seems like a soldier, true soldier, stand up, real patriot, and she's gonna stand up and do her job as cheap as the people, and I wanna commend her for that. Man, let me say something about our condition. I make my donation for the judicial move that the UWP is going forward, and I want to commend Zed because he also recommend that you do raise fundraiser, like calling people and making people remember that it's our duty to make donation to for our quest for justice. Man, I want to say that whether the UWP win, not win, but are successful in that quest or not, I will support that because I make up my mind. I will make donation to certain causes that is gonna liberate the country, and not every time somebody need $5 or whatever. I don't care what nobody say, but
All right, it's 1:45 in the afternoon.
Beat the heat with world-class Lorotech inverter type air conditioners from ESA Trading Limited. State-of-the-art technology, quiet and super efficient. Lorotech inverter type air conditioners made by TCL are the most energy efficient air conditioning unit, resulting in great savings on electricity. Lorotech DC inverter type air conditioners come with anti-corrosive golden coating for added protection and prevention of bacteria, double galvanized outdoor case against rust, 3-year warranty on complete unit with 5-year warranty on compressor. Available in 9,000, 12,000, 18,000, 24,000, and 36,000 BTU units. Prices start as low as $1,850. Plus, you get 10% discount on cash purchases. Higher purchase terms are also available. Also, ESA Trading Limited offers professional installation and after-sales service. Visit ESA Trading Limited today at the corner of Bayfront and Kennedy Avenue, Roseville, or Canefield Industrial Site, or call us on telephone number 440-0205 or 449-3636. ESA Trading Limited. We're making a difference for you. ESA Trading Limited does it again. Shop at ESA Trading Limited in September for a chance to win. Every week in September, a lucky customer will win a $250 food voucher. That's right, a $250 food voucher. Just spend $50 or more and place your receipt in the box provided, and you will have a chance to win. Plus, shop on double points days. ESA Trading Limited loyalty card holders will earn double points on selected dates every month until the end of year. So shop and earn more points. For terms and conditions and further details, visit our store in Roseville. ESA Trading Limited. We're here for you.
AutoTrade is introducing our very own mobile app. Yes, the AutoTrade app is here. From scheduling your service appointments, request financing, checking our vehicle and parts inventory, to receiving personalized coupons and sales specials. Life is so much easier with the new AutoTrade app. Download the AutoTrade app from the Play Store or App Store today. Call us at 255-6800. AutoTrade, it's more than a vehicle, it's a relationship.
Want to stay ahead in the world of electronic communications? Then you've got to check out Extelbytes, a production of the Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Authority. We dive into the hottest topics affecting the telecom sector, from the latest innovations to the policies shaping your digital future. Tune in to Extelbytes on the last 3 Thursdays of this month, September 12th, 19th, and 26th. In the digital world, knowledge is your greatest asset.
Dominique, I have got to make my way there to this news conference organized by the United Workers' Party. Starting time 2 o'clock. I have a few minutes to get there. In the meantime, we want to keep you in the independence mood, huh? Stick around 2 o'clock. The news conference will be carried live.